whether you're sitting at a computer looking at Thinkorswim all day or whether you're, on the go, out living life, working a full-time
Yeah.
job, doesn't really
And
matter.
and the beautiful thing about it's not complicated, it's a directional type approach where you're taking advantage of the days of the week and you're taking advantage of where the market is in its cycle. And I know that putting it together is sort of fun because every now and then the markets change and
Hmm.
you have to go in there and make some modifications. And that's what I guess somebody say, well, Tom, how this is not your first. I said, no, it won't be my last either. I always try to figure out what's going to put the odds in our
Yeah.
favor.
Why would you keep doing the same
Yeah,
thing
why
if the
would you,
market changes?
yeah, why would you keep taking risk that you don't need to be taking? And I tell you, you saw well, you didn't get a chance to come over there, but Joey, our cameraman, did. He just saw the smiles on everybody's faces when you break it down
Yeah.
and keep it from being complicated.
Hmm.
That's the beauty of it.
Absolutely. Well, before we jump in, anything you're seeing in the markets today that people should
Yeah.
pay attention to?
Last night in the middle of the night, about 1 o'clock, market went up, made some highs. Today, uh, trying to recover those highs. It's going to be a real test on today's market, whether it takes out last night's highs or it rolls over. And that happened in the last hour of the day. So it's we're sort of that time now. Everybody's sort of dividing up their sides. Which side is it going to be, and what to do, and how to do
Hmm.
it. So it's going to be an exciting close today.
Yeah, middle of the month. We've got a lot to come
Oh,
still. I know
absolutely. You got
that.
a couple big reports. You
Yeah,
got
Fed's coming next week.
yeah.
You expecting anything there, or you think we're
No,
gonna
not
hold
really.
steady one more time?
Yeah, I really think the Fed's so far behind the eight ball because the big thing I've told everybody, the third week of July, line it up. Now I say that with a caveat because we got to get this bill through Congress. We get the bill through
Hmm.
Congress, everything's in place.
Yeah.
Kevin Hassett from the administration
Hmm.
said that he's expecting 4% growth the second half of the year. Now think about that. If we had 4% growth, the prices people are looking at things now, they're cheap.
Yeah.
And so if that plays out, we'll see if that plays out. That gives people a lot of excitement for the second half of
Hmm.
the year.
Yeah, and I like the way you said that. Once they get that bill passed, it's kind of the before and after. We'll see what happens, but they got to get that passed first.
Yeah, I've
Um,
always used that thing. You get a chimpanzee to throw darts, you can make money in a market like that. Well, at Sawgrass, Adam came up with a chimpanzee, called him T-Buzz, and anyway,
oh,
but
I thought you just put a shirt on Adam and called him a
well,
chimpanzee,
we
but
could have done that too. But the whole point is I'm trying to make is the odds are going to be so good for everybody here. You got to be with us as we do it. So
awesome. Well, let's dive in here. I need to
sure.
share my screen, I think, and tell folks how you're going to be doing that, or one of the strategies you'll be doing that with. Can everybody see that okay? Look good, Joey? All right. Well, we're going to be talking about what Tom calls the weekend side hustle today, and I'm very excited about this. Tom, like you said, new and improved. And it's a new way to target income over the weekend with any regular brokerage account, which I think is really exciting. I love this strategy, and I'm glad to get to sit here with you and talk about it. So, before we dive in, the profits and performance shown are not typical. We make no future earnings claims, and obviously, anyone can lose money in the markets. The majority of the trades expressed are from historical backtested data in order to demonstrate the potential of the system. The average backtested return per weekend, winners and losers included, that's a big sentence there, winners and losers included, is $1,592 of profit per weekend based on a 5K starting stake. But you don't have to spend 5K if you don't want to. Every example is based on that same starting investment unless otherwise stated. The historic success rate, Tom, 84%. Incredible stuff you're doing here. Of course, we can't guarantee any future specific results. There's always a high degree of risk involved in trading, and you can go to the DTI homepage for
Yeah,
more info.
and as we're talking today, I want you to remember that number. $1,592 by following this process. I mean, do the math on that. You
Yeah.
just got to get excited about it.
Absolutely. And then one more time, in trading, there are always going to be losers. There's not a black box miracle system that prints out winners automatically. We've always been transparent about that. Tom's completely transparent about that. Whole purpose of what Tom's doing is to work with traders and help give you an edge, which is what we're trying to do today. But if you don't think you can handle a losing trade, then don't trade with real money. Do some paper trading, follow along however else you want, but don't put your real money on the line. So, if you don't know me, I am Prosperity Pub Editor-in-Chief, Stephen Ground, and I'm excited to talk about what we're diving into today. Before we get going, take a close look at this redacted document from CBOE. What you're looking at is a special perk set up by the Chicago Board of Options Exchange in the last few years. A perk that now allows everyday folks to target extra income over the weekend from any regular brokerage account. I'm talking about payouts that our study shows were worth $1,592 on average in extra income each weekend. That means while the rest of the world is left empty-handed on Saturday and Sunday, while the stock market is closed, we have an opportunity to target extra income over the weekend while still getting the most out of life. Like on March 27th, 2025, not long ago, could have taken a few minutes to place a quick trade before the weekend hit, maybe hit the road for a weekend camping trip, and come back Monday with an extra $2,524 in your brokerage account. Then the next weekend came, April 3rd. You could have set your trade, booked your favorite bed and breakfast for the weekend, and woke up Monday with a crisp $2,500 in extra income.
Starts adding up.
It sure does. A few days went by, then you can do it again. April 10th, not long before my birthday. Hit a few buttons on your phone or laptop to get in before the weekend hits. Then you could have taken your closest friends out to dinner on Friday, covered the greens fees on Saturday. Tom, I know you'd enjoy that. Picked up brunch on Sunday, and when Monday came, instead of dreading the start of your week, you could have come back to a cool $2,528 in extra income sitting in your account. Now, before we get too far along, I want to be very clear. Again, there's nothing guaranteed in the markets, right? There's no instant income magic pill. Tom, if there was, you would have found it by now, I think. But just like with anything in the stock market, there's going to be winners and losers along the way, and you need to be prepared for that. But that's why, for the next few minutes, we want you to forget about being the next overnight millionaire, because financial freedom doesn't happen overnight. Happens bit by bit, in this case, weekend after weekend. And with what my special guest is about to share with you today, your weekends could be just a little bit more enjoyable, knowing that when Monday hits, we're out of the trade. So really think about this. What if there was a way to target an extra $1,592 on average in extra income each and every weekend? All by taking a few minutes to set the position before the weekend hits and clocking out on Monday. Thanks to a shocking discovery found inside this document, it's now possible. Welcome to the Weekend Side Hustle.
You gotta love that name.
Absolutely. Now, as I mentioned before, my name's Stephen Ground, and in my job, I get to work alongside a lot of the world's top trading experts. It's a true joy and privilege of mine, and I'm constantly on the hunt for strategies that could help me, a relative beginner, make trading simpler. And also, help the folks out there. So when I heard about this new way of generating income over the weekend, I knew that I had to explore it more. It's a legal way to target cash over the weekend while most folks out there are left making zilch, or worse yet, giving up their weekend to do some other kind of side hustle. So if you're looking for a way to target extra income to help pay for everyday expenses or just to help boost your retirement nest egg, then this may be perfect for you. The man behind this new discovery started his professional trading career back in the 1970s. In 1992, he was one of only 50 professionals to be handpicked by the CME to receive his very own Globex terminal. And he even helped manage a firm so successfully that it was eventually bought out by the $1.3 trillion institution, Morgan Stanley. Now that he's walked away from Wall Street, he's been on a mission to help everyday folks tap into some of the same methods that have been kept away from the average Joe in the past. And just hear some of the very best stories from some of his other students following his work. Like Bruce L. from Texas, who said, "When I follow you, I make money." Tom is committed to helping you all the way through the trade. Then there's Bob E., who said, "The program is amazing, up over 2K today? Or how about Emmanuel O from New Mexico? You're a great teacher, Tom. I made around $2,200 from one trade. Keep up the good work. Those are some of the best stories from students following along with none other than trading legend Tom Busby. You've seen him on Bloomberg, CNBC, CNN. He's the author of 3 incredible books that I recommend to everybody. And Tom, I'm really excited to be here with you today.
Well, Stephen, it is great to be here, and thanks for having me on today. Now, today we're going to empower you, though, and I want to show you how, just with a few minutes of your time, a couple clicks inside your brokerage account, you could set up your very own weekend side hustle inside the stock market. One that has shown the power to pay $1,592 on average in extra income each weekend. There's an opportunity. And the timing for this brand new briefing couldn't have been any better. Right now, some of the hardest working folks are getting destroyed by inflation, and the cost to buy an average home has increased 70% in the last 6 years.
Oof.
So even if you got a raise last year,
Yeah.
it probably doesn't feel like it. It's making much of a difference at the end of the day. Thanks to inflation, we're seeing things like credit card debt hit all-time highs. That's left folks looking anywhere they can to generate extra income to cover their bills and their expenses.
Mhm.
It's almost impossible to keep up with the ever-rising cost of living anymore. Most folks think that the only way to generate extra income, hey, get a second job at Costco or working overtime hours or late weekend nights.
Yep.
But with what I'm about to share with you, you can now start your very own weekend side hustle right from the comfort of your sofa. And right now, I think everybody needs that side hustle.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter if you have a multi-million-dollar retirement account or just starting out with a few $1,000s. All you need, pretty simple, standard brokerage account. Raise your hand if you got one. Internet connection. Raise your hand if you got one. And a few minutes to set the trade before the weekend. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to invite you to kickstart your very own weekend side hustle. Before we get there, take a walk with me back to February of this year.
All right.
In the back half of February 2025, the stock market took a terrible nosedive.
Yeah, we remember that.
Now, let's say someone had 5,000 invested. That's the amount we'll refer to show you the power of this with every example. Now, in the middle of February, the S&P was in a terrible fall. Over the weekend of February the 20th, folks taking the trusty old buy and hold route would have lost money.
Mm-hmm.
But if folks would have followed along with the process of the weekend side hustle, they've seen a much different story. Look at that, $2,524. Well, the S&P was falling, 2,520 went in your brokerage account. And the very next weekend rolled around, same exact story. The weekend of February 28th, the S&P lost $84.50, NASDAQ $115, small caps $140, and NVIDIA lost
Got
$445, got crushed. But what we're going to share with you today on that same weekend, you could have hit it out of the park with this process. $2,528.
Look at that.
You choose. Which one do you want?
Not a hard question, Tom. 2528 is a meaningful chunk of change. And think about it. Thanks to years of inflation, everyone in this room right now has felt that. The cost of living has gone skyward. It's out of control. Even if you were comfortable 5 years ago, you're still feeling the squeeze. In fact, just since 2021, we've seen the monthly average mortgage price nearly double from $1,316 all the way to $2,207 a month. And for a lot of folks, I'm sure that feels low. That's nearly a $900 increase every single month. And it's not like people have a lot of extra change laying around to cover the difference either, not unless you're sitting on a pretty good nest egg to begin with, and even that's being eaten away. But folks who would have taken advantage of the weekend side hustle that you're talking about, they could have more than covered the cost of the average monthly mortgage without needing to slave away at a desk job working extra hours to make it happen, right? Instead, you could have done it all while enjoying life to the fullest over the weekend. And keep in mind that $2,528, that would have come in while every major index, small caps, and even the Magnificent Seven were in the toilet.
That's right, Stephen. Before we get ahead of ourselves, let me just say this. If you have a job, I'm not telling you to quit it.
Right.
If you've been steadily saving for retirement, don't stop. What I'm sharing with you today is a way that could help you supplement your income with a new technique that I don't think anyone else is using. If you're here right now, you're probably, pretty smart individual. You're looking for this. Like any investment strategy, there's risk. There'll be winning weeks and there'll be losing weeks. That's why our team worked extra hard to optimize the method behind the weekend side hustle. Now, of course, no one can guarantee future returns, but when you account for all the weekends so far, from the study, winners and losers included, we're looking at what could have been, on average, $1,592 in extra income each weekend. Just like what we saw back on the weekend of February 13th this year. Had you taken a few minutes to place a trade before the markets closed on Friday, a key part of the strategy, you could have spent your free time on Saturday and Sunday, maybe skiing in the mountains, and come back after weekend to do this, $2,523.
Tom, I want to put that in perspective for all the folks at home here because that's an incredible number. The average household has just north of $6,400 a month in expenses. Maybe some folks out there feel like that's low. And I'm talking about things like healthcare, food, transportation, clothing, just the bare necessities, right? Meanwhile, the average monthly income in the US is only $4,901 every month. Now, how can anyone possibly keep up with that? You can't, right? It's mathematically impossible. And that's a huge income gap many folks can't fill right now. But this weekend side hustle project, it could help everyday people fill that income gap and then some. And the last three examples alone, the ones you just showed us, which happened back to back to back, you're looking at what could have been more than the average Joe brings in each month. Average salary $4,300. Weekend side hustle $7,577 on
That's
just
just
three trades.
that's just three trades.
Yeah, exactly.
Pay attention. That's just three trades.
And that's more than enough to
Right.
cover the average monthly expenses that we just talked about.
Right.
And that means that most importantly, the money that you worked your tail off for, folks at home, to earn, for yourself and your family can actually be used for the things you want to spend it on. Or you're simply building up the rainy day fund, which almost nobody has right now.
Stephen, this is why I get excited about this project, and that's why I'm on this mission. And this mission is to show you how to unlock this little known income opportunity hidden right there in front of that redacted document. Now, you can take advantage of all the new weekend side hustles right away, starting this very week. It's going to happen in hours.
Mhm.
And based on our research, you won't be able to target these types of steady returns anywhere else. Most financial advisors or local finance gurus in your town might lead you to think that the only way to hit your retirement goals is to stash money away in a trusty S&P fund or a mutual fund and hope it grows enough for you to be able to retire. But unfortunately, that's just not getting the job done anymore.
No.
Do the math. At 6% annual, it would take 41 years for a pretty sizable 100,000 invested to hit $1 million. And sadly, $1 million simply isn't what it used to be. In fact, a recent study suggests that the American dream costs 4 times that much.
Wow.
That's hard. That's
Hard
a
to
hill.
believe.
That's a hill to climb.
Yeah.
And retirement. Well, sadly, it's a pipe dream for many folks. That's why people are working longer.
No.
Millions of people, young and old, have been forced to delay their retirement. Now, forget about retiring at 65. Far too many folks will be forced to work well into their 70s.
Mhm.
That's why, whether you're retired or just starting out the workforce, you need to pay attention
Mhm.
because you need a weekend side hustle to have the opportunity to fill that gap that's being created through no fault of yours, targeting extra income over the weekend while most folks are left without a way to earn extra buck from the markets. And so far, the results from our study are outstanding, with a success rate north of 80%.
And what do you always say when someone has a success rate of 80%? You need to listen and take notes, I believe.
Listen and pay attention. That's like cashing in with extra income 4 out of every 5 weekends. That means you can target this weekend income regardless if the stock market goes up, down, or flat. That's the beautiful thing about the strategy. Take the end of last year, for example. Before Christmas, the markets rose $2,530.
Not bad.
Weekend number 1. And following the weekend, Santa Claus Rally stalled and the markets fell. What happened? $1,275.
Didn't matter at all.
And each weekend we have the same opportunity. It fits into our process. Like over the very next weekend when the stock market barely moved, $2,500.
Look
There's
at
a
that.
pattern here.
Absolutely incredible.
And I'll show you that pattern. Thanks to that special type of trade over the weekend, we're able to collect even if the trade goes slightly against us.
And Tom, in the case of just those three examples you just showed, I mean, look at that, 2530, 1275, 2500. Folks could have had a chance to pocket extra income over the weekend, regardless of whether the market goes up, down, or flat. And keep in mind, folks, you could have spent the weekend doing the things you love, just like Tom here does. Maybe that means spending some extra time tossing the football with the grandkids or going to Disney with Paula, your lovely wife. Maybe that means a relaxing round of golf with the guys on the weekend. Or maybe, as you just wrapped up here in the last couple weeks, maybe it means coming down to one of Tom's world-class coaching sessions to hang out with other awesome traders just like you.
And I want to make a comment. You know, a lot of people really tout uh, what we did last week. All you got to do is ask the students who were there. We had like 94% of those signed up for next year.
That's amazing.
That's an amazing stat.
Yeah, and that's what's awesome about this weekend side hustle. However you choose to spend your weekend, that's your choice, because you know that Monday has just become your new favorite day of the week, which is saying a lot for folks. So,
Right.
Tom, it's time to spill the beans here. What's making this all possible?
Well, Stephen, as I've told you, it's thanks to that special perk set up by the Chicago Board of Options Exchange in the summer of 2022. In fact, up until this announcement, the weekend income opportunity really wasn't available to folks like you or me. But now they've unlocked it for the everyday Joe, those that listen for years and years to come. What the CBO did was they launched daily options on a few tickers that we can use to target income over the weekend. Now, don't worry, you don't need any special type account to do this. You already have access to these inside your regular brokerage account. Just need to know what to do. These daily options allow us to specifically target income over the weekend, closing it out on Monday. And if everything works out, we know we have a chance to target an extra $15.92 by the time Monday hits.
Love that. That number's crazy.
Just like in the final weekend of January. All you needed to do was set your trade on Friday, January the 30th, before the markets close for the weekend. Again, a key thing you have to do. Sure enough, by the time Monday hit and the cash fund settled, hey, 2,523.
Not too bad.
And don't worry, place your trade with the weekend side hustle, no different. Maybe trading Apple or Amazon. Simple, straightforward. Now, this is a good time to remind people, no strategy wins all the time. That's why you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. But my goal is to do everything within my power to show you how this works and help you limit losses when they do occur. After all, nobody likes to place losing trades.
Of course.
That's why our team and worked tirelessly over the last few months to get this method for you and me for good times and bad. And I'm happy to report that after analyzing over a half year of data, the final study shows it's small account friendly. $100 minimum position size, $15.92 average weekend payout based on that 5,000, and the success rate. This is what I love touting the most: accuracy, 84%. With built-in risk management.
Really, really unbelievable, Tom. And I know you're a pretty humble guy. You don't brag on yourself a lot, but in your career, you've been able to help a lot of extraordinary traders across your services. Some of your happiest readers, like Dick and C, have written in $1,930 in profit in less than 4 days. My top money-making strategy. Or how about Jim P, who said total of $2,060. Great way to start the month. Please pass along my thanks to Tom. So Tom from Jim, he says thanks. But what we're covering here today, this works a little differently than anything else you've done before. So Tom, tell us, how does this really work? What are you doing here?
Well, see, first you need to understand when most people think of the word options, they think about buying options.
Right.
There's always two sides of the coin. But instead of just buying options outright like most people do, I use a special type of trade on these daily options to collect premiums on other people's risky bets.
Okay.
And no, it has nothing to do with naked options. Think about all those massive insurance companies like State Farm or Progressive. They're playing the odds. They just sit back and collect those insurance premiums on folks month after month. We're doing the same exact thing, but in the stock market
Okay.
when the odds are in your favor. Taking a weekend paycheck by collecting premiums on other folks' risky bets time and time again. By the way, I collect these premiums in the stock market is very unique. You see, with CBO listed these daily options, they priced it in such standard way that premium each day, the way it counts. Tuesday, option, 1 day worth of premium. Go to Wednesday, very standard. Collect 1 day each day. But what if you did a different type technique? And most people do this because it's easy and simple doing that, but they don't realize how much money they could be leaving on the table. I didn't realize it until I did the work, but because frankly, there's a better and safer way to do it. You see, by entering before the weekend, collecting income from Monday options, we get bonus premiums just for holding over the weekend.
Makes perfect sense.
That's like instantly tripling your odds on something working for you by the amount of premium you collect in the process. And get this, because the market is closed on Saturday and Sunday, you're able to sidestep a lot of market action,
Yeah.
but you still get paid for all 3 days. Just like what would happen back on April 17th. Could have spent your week staring at charts. I've done that. Banging my head against the wall. I've done that. Hoping to find that edge late at night. Or you could have taken about 30 minutes of your time to place a special type trade to collect the bonus premiums over the weekend. And gone off to enjoy your life. And sure enough, well, folks invested in S&P 500 made nothing over the weekend. Zero return, zilch. With the weekend side hustle, you could have cashed in with 2,500 on that weekend.
That's not a hard choice to make there.
Yes, if you do the math you did on the house payments, it's like 2.5.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now, of course, you can just go out and you just can't go out and blindly pick options to make that happen.
Right.
If that were the case, everyone would be doing it. You just have to know which trades to place, when to place those trades, and I'm going to show you everything you need to know to start your very own weekend side hustle right away. Because right now, we're already determined everyone needs a side hustle.
Absolutely. That's so true.
Doesn't matter where you live, who you have your brokerage account with, or you've been trading for 35 years or longer like me, or just getting started. I'm holding a live step-by-step workshop to show you exactly how to start targeting these payouts with the weekend side hustle. It'll include full details for how to place your trade, make your trade work, and how to upgrade your account, what you need to do to manage your risk so you can start using this technique in your account today. And I'd like to invite folks out there to join me for free today so you can start taking advantage of the weekend side hustle right away. And once you get your hands on this step-by-step video course, you'll be shocked how clear-cut it really is. You'll immediately be able to start using it this very weekend, just like we could have done on April the 24th. After just hitting a few buttons, you could have locked and loaded for the weekend and have your trade work. Just select a trade, send it off, back to your normal day. And sure enough, by the time Monday hit, the weekend side hustle could have paid again, $2,119.
Tom, will any regular brokerage account do the job here?
Yeah, any regular brokerage account works. They all work. In fact, the government even allows this unique strategy to be used in retirement accounts.
That's an awesome advantage. Tom, I have to tell you, the weekend side hustle is something I definitely want to start trying right away. And like you said, you hit the nail on the head. Everyone needs a side hustle right now. It's a lot easier than DoorDash. In your career, you've been no stranger to showing folks results just like these in the past. Just hear from some of the top stories from your students following along in your sister services. There's Ken, who said, I love its simplicity, a great tool to trade, picked up an extra 3,200 today. Or Robert, who said, over 2,000 bucks today, everyone should be a part of it. Or how about Hugh T from Minnesota, who sent in this $3,656 in single day profit.
Happy. He was so happy.
Absolutely. You can see it there.
Yeah. Stephen, those are amazing stories. But I can't wait to hear from Ken, Robert, Hugh, and many others once they get started with the weekend side hustle. That's why I agreed to sit down with you here today to share this way and share it with the world to show people how to start using the weekend side hustle to help radically boost their income. And today, the folks out there can claim access to this live workshop so they can start implementing this unique strategy in their own accounts. That's the beauty of it. Just by subscribing to my flagship weekends income service. We call it the Weekend Profits Club.
Love it.
This service is solely dedicated to targeting extra income over the weekend, thanks to that special perk set up by the CBOE just months ago. One has shown the power to pay $1,592 on average in extra income each weekend there's an opportunity. Now, today, I'm hoping to bring in about 100 new members from wherever you are, all walks of life, whether you've been investing for years or just getting started. Every single week, I'll give you my best weekend income opportunity. Stay tuned. One that I would personally recommend to my closest friends and family. Folks, that's up to 52 weekend income opportunities every year.
Absolutely. And each one of those is based on the same method that your study has shown. Again, listen to this number, an average of $1,592, winners and losers. Every weekend, there's a setup.
Hey, I'm holding nothing back. In each Weekend Profits Club alert, I'll break it all down for you, step by step. The ticker, when to place the trade, the options criteria, interest and exits, all in there. Each income alert will have clear instructions on how to place the trade. We do all the hard work to find each income opportunity for you and just read each alert and follow along if you choose. Just like what would have happened on May the 8th, a few weeks ago. Look at that. Get it, send it out there, the trade alert right in your inbox. There it is, weekend side hustle. All you had to do is take the trade. You could have spent your weekend maybe playing golf, working on that short game, or practicing for the next pickleball tournament. And by the time Monday hit, an extra $2,522 while the S&P went down. That's the kind of strategy you want, not market dependent.
Right.
And don't feel like you need to be sitting next to your computer all day long. I'll post a trade each Thursday around noon. The window actually goes from Thursday around noon to Friday's close. And you have plenty of time to get in before the weekend hits. I want you to experience the Weekend Profits Club to be as hands-free as possible. Of course, alongside the email alerts, I also include cell phone alerts. So while you're out and about, you can always take advantage. And the next weekend rolls around, May 15th. You'll have gotten email, taken a trade if you choose. And sure enough, anyone who'd gotten in on that one would have made $2,200.22. Wow, I like that number.
Incredible. Tom, between just those two trades that you're talking about, that could have been an extra $4,745 after just 2 weekends. I'm just sitting here imagining what the folks out there would have done with an extra nearly $5,000. Maybe paid off some debt, helped out their kids or grandkids, maybe even started planning their next vacation.
You know, great choices, always have choices, but maybe the most important thing was not having to constantly worry about having enough money all the time.
Absolutely.
You know, huge burden for folks right now. And that's why I want to include another very special piece to your membership. You see, unlike most stocks out there, the CBO specifically set these options up to include special tax benefits. Listen up, folks. This is another reason I like it. Where you can save money on taxes that you would otherwise pay to Uncle Sam if you were trading other popular tickers like SPY, QQQ, Apple, and others. All you need is that standard brokerage account, internet connection, and a few minutes to set the trade before the weekend. That's why I'll also be including a very special report that shows your money matters, how to automatically save up to 25% on taxes from the weekend side hustle.
It's a huge difference.
Inside that report, you see all the ways you're entitled to save money come tax season. And don't worry, if you follow along with the trade alerts, your broker will automatically do the savings for you when you get your final year-end report. So instead of paying a big fat check to the government, keep more of your hard-earned risk capital for yourself right in your pocket.
I'm almost speechless. The Weekend Profits Club is unlike anything I've ever seen before. And again, just between those two trades that you talked about just most recently, we're looking at what could have been another $47.45 in extra income just over 2 weekends. And this isn't like missing out on Amazon in 1999 or even Nvidia in 2021. These opportunities just happened. And that's just after 2 weeks. As a member of the Weekend Profits Club, you're giving folks up to 50 more weekend opportunities. So I have to ask, will new memberships cost around $4,700 per year?
And Stephen, I firmly believe it's worth every penny of that. But before we talk price, I want to highlight maybe one of the biggest benefits of being a member to Weekend Profits Club. You see, there's something I haven't mentioned yet today, and it takes the Weekend Profits Club to a whole new level. While we normally target extra income over the weekend, closing out on Monday, sometimes the trade is just so good, we get paid before the weekend even hits. Now think about going into the weekend with your money in your pocket after you took the risk on a Friday with extra cash already in hand. That's a total game changer.
Totally, absolutely is.
That's exactly what happened in one of my favorite examples, March the 6th. As a member, you would have received a trade alert on Thursday around noon. And sure enough, by the time Friday hit, the trade was so good that me and my team chose to lock in the gains before the weekend, pulled down another $2,500.
Yeah, you'd have to choose those.
That was good. Now, for anyone out there who would have loved to head into the weekend with that extra 2,500 in your pocket, here's another special bonus for you. We call it the early payday exit plan. Inside this special briefing, I'll show you how to set your profit target so that your trade will automatically close out at your desired price once we hit our goal. That way you can set the trade, walk away to enjoy life, and I even include exclusive information on how to automatically help protect if it goes against you.
Tom, I have to admit, I mean, that's the cherry on top of this Sunday. This membership is really, really special. And your students absolutely love the materials you put together. I got to sit with a bunch of them last week and hear some of their stories from folks in your various trainings in the past. Ed P, we see him a lot, easy to follow entry and exit signals. The benefit is more than their trading success. And this is what everybody always says. The program has given me confidence that if I had to rely only on my trading to make a living, I could do it. Think about how big a burden that is on someone's shoulders.
Huge place we take people.
Exactly. Kenneth P said, Tom's an excellent coach, trainer, and trader, easy to follow. I'm 110% a member for life. I love those stories.
You know, we have some remarkable stories. Now, of course, regardless of how good the research results show, not every trade's going to work out. So you should never risk more than you can afford to lose on any one single trade. And luckily, you don't have to. You can take the weekend profit clubs for as little as $100 on average. And if you're starting small, I'm okay with that. Whether you're starting with $1,000 or $1 million, I want you to focus on the trainings and understand the process. I'm teaching you to fish, getting the hang of these straightforward weekend profits club opportunities. You can always start small and scale it over time. And that's why it doesn't matter who you are out there, whether you're young or whether you're old. If you've been trading for 10 years or just getting started, I want to invite you from wherever you're coming from to jump into the Weekend Profits Club. Take one of those 100 spots. And based on the last 4 examples I've shown you, add it up. $9,363 per year on those 4.
Unbelievable.
Now, for the new members today, we're not going to run anything close to that price. That's why you got to be one of these 100. It's a chicken, fish, or steak moment. Get the discounted price. Be part of this as we roll it out for the entire world to unlock the full potential of the Weekend Profit Club. New opportunity coming to your inbox. Starts on Thursday, ends on Friday, gets in there just before the weekend hits.
Tom, I bet these spots are going to fill up very fast today.
Well, let's just say they should fill up fast if people are sitting there thinking, I need to know this process. I better learn it.
Absolutely. So what's the price going to be then? $5,000 for a year feels way more than fair for this.
Well, forget about paying $5,000. Forget about paying $3,500. In fact, members who join through the main website get everything they've seen for $24.97.
What a deal. That's incredible.
But folks watching right now, we're live, get an even better deal. You see, after analyzing more than a half year of data, I have to admit, it's exciting. We're blown away by the results of the Weekend Profits Club. In fact, if you take all the trade examples, winning, losing weekends, all take it, $39,794 and some odd cents. We didn't put that there. Okay. Keep in mind that the same time frame, the S&P actually went down 3%.
Right. This has not been a pretty year so far.
Yeah. Then you look at the Weekend Profits Club
Wow.
on the right-hand side, 39,794. Notice the increase that we're doing with the strategy, down $150. You choose. Now, it's not even close. And that's exactly how it's been designed, that no other investment approach comes even close. For time spent, money paid. But with that said, I want to be very, very clear. If you hope to become an overnight millionaire, this is not for you. If you want to gamble on risky stocks, this isn't for you. In fact, I'm hoping that the Weekend Profits Club will open the door for many folks out there that never thought trading was an option for them. Gives them that extra income, that side hustle income. And that's why I'm not willing to charge an arm and a leg for you to join today. Which brings me to one final bonus. I know that program at $24.97 is a phenomenal value. And I know people might be struggling there, and paying north of $2,000 is still quite a lot of money. However, you may not be comfortable spending that much right now, but I don't want there to be any reason anybody out there can't join. Ultimately, my goal is to see students pay off their membership. I call it a scholarship as soon as possible.
And Tom, when you talk about scholarships, you've had plenty of your students do that in the past.
Yeah, just ask the people that were with me last week.
Bob from Cutler Bay said, "Thank you. This has been the best service. I've already made back my entire subscription cost in just 2 weeks." Or how about Whitney, who told us, "I made my cost of subscription plus $500 in my first week. I'm very grateful to have found you."
If you're watching right now, I want you to have the same experience as Bob and Whitney, but I want to help you get there a lot faster. Special bonus, the Weekend Profits Club, here it is, Founders Discount. Today, if you join and take one of those spots, I'm inviting you to join right now. If you take action, it won't be the $24.97 like the online retail price. You'll get a complete access for more than half off. That's right. Today, I've shown you time and time again how the weekend side hustle is an integral part everybody out there needs to have in their account. It opens the door to extra $1,592 in weekend income on average each time there's a setup. So when you join today, right here in this room, you'll get complete access to the all-new Weekend Profits Club. Only $1,592 for founding members. Look at that.
Wow.
But I have to warn you, it's a limited time special. All spots will fill up fast. No hesitation. So if you're ready to take action and be with us and put the Weekend Profits Club to work for you, then go to dtitrader.com/WPC. Or you can call 904-706-3532, get any questions answered, or simply click in the link in the chat and get on board.
Wow, Tom. I mean, that's an unbelievable price. $15.92 is the average trade result for winners and losers. But in many of those examples you showed us, you're making, 1.5 or 2 times that. That's unbelievable. So folks, go to dtitrader.com/WPC right now or call 904-706-3532. I'm sure Adam just dropped the link in the chat. Tom, this is unbelievable.
Starting right now, you have the opportunity to kickstart your very own weekend side hustle. Because everyone needs a side hustle.
Absolutely.
What will the first weekend income opportunity be? Well, only the founding members are going to know that one. And while we can never promise any future gains, just take a look at what happened back on March the 13th. The alert would have hit your inbox. That's the process, Thursday at noon. You had plenty of time to get in before the weekend. And in case of this signal, it would have been yet another winner before the weekend hit. $1,105 weekend income. Imagine going into the weekend with an extra $1,105 in your hand. And then off to enjoy your weekend just a little bit more than you did before.
It's really, really incredible stuff, Tom.
Yeah, don't miss out on your first weekend income opportunity. Go to dtitrader.com/WPC, or you can call 904-706-3532. 3532.
We've got a really great team of experts too standing by. If you have questions, we're obviously going to dive into the chat here in a minute and go through some frequently asked questions. But the easiest way, just call our team. They're standing by to help you. Tom, I love it. Look at all you've packed into this. It's really unbelievable. And folks, just hear some of the top love letters Tom's team has received over the years from folks in his sister services. Like Whitney, she said, I made my cost of subscription plus $500 in my first week. Very grateful to have found you. Or how about Jim P? Total of $2,060. Great way to start the month. Please pass along my thanks to Tom. Ken said, I love its simplicity. It's a great tool to trade. Picked up an extra $3,200 today. How about Emmanuel O? You're a great teacher. I made around $2,200 from one trade. Keep up the good work. Those are some of the very best stories so far, Tom, and I absolutely love this next one. Kenneth P says, I think he captures you here perfectly. You're an excellent coach, trainer, and trader. You're easy to follow. And Ken said he's 110% a member for life. And we hope that you will be too. So go to dtitrader.com/WPC or call 904-706-3532 to get started. There's an weekend income opportunity coming up in just a couple days here. So people want to take advantage of that. And now, folks, once you take one of those founding memberships, don't close the next page, because on the next page, Tom set up an opportunity for you to be just like Kenneth and actually upgrade your membership to lifetime. And I highly recommend doing that. I'm sure Tom highly recommends doing that, because with the incredible savings on the founding membership, with data like this that we've already talked about, small account friendly, $100 a month or per trade minimum position size, 1592 average weekend payout, winners and losers included. And as you said, that incredible 84% success rate. Spots are going to fill up very quickly. So make sure you order today. Go to dtitrader.com/WPC, call the team 904-706-3532 and kickstart your weekend side hustle today.
Remember, Stephen, we're going after the bonus premiums in the market. I'll show people how to do it, something you can't get any other day of the week. And because the market is closed on Saturday and Sunday, we're able to sidestep a lot of market action. But you still get paid for every day you're at risk. Just like what would have happened back on weekend of April 17th. You could have spent your weekend staring at charts, banging your head against a brick wall, hoping to find an edge. Or you could have taken about 30 minutes of your time to place a special type trade to collect the bonus premiums over the weekend. Taking your closest friends out to dinner, covered the green fees maybe on a Saturday, and picked up brunch on a Sunday. What a weekend.
Absolutely.
And sure enough, hey, 2,500 in weekend income. That's a healthy payday for a Monday.
Absolutely, Tom. And I love one of the things you said there, cutting out that volatility during the week, because
Right.
everybody knows right now we're living in a world where, just for example, the president and the world's richest man can get in a little fight on Twitter and sink the price of Tesla and DJT and drag down the whole markets overnight. But by trading over the weekend, you don't have to worry about that. Sure, there will be news, but it's not going to affect the markets because the markets are closed. That's just
Yeah, and
another
that's
thing I love here.
a unique thing about from Friday to Monday you'll learn. And I'm going to teach you, and don't be fearful that you won't know how to do these type trades. They're step by step the way I teach it, and I think got a pretty good track record of teaching people
Yeah.
about options and how to use options the correct way.
I don't think anyone's ever left one of your strategies saying, I didn't know how to do it.
Exactly.
You're a very, very good teacher. And now, folks, it's time to make a choice. What Tom calls chicken, fish, or steak. You mentioned that earlier. You can go back to doing whatever it is you've been doing, struggling to keep up, or just watching the nest egg get eaten away by inflation, putting your full faith in the markets, the economy, maybe worse yet, the government, hoping for the best.
Right.
Hoping that it helps fill the massive hole in our pockets right now. Look at this, a record number of Americans only making their minimum credit card payment.
We're going to change that. Join this weekend side hustle right now. Don't hesitate.
Absolutely. Or you can do something better, something new, and start targeting weekend income this very week, up, down, or sideways. Choice is yours. What are you going to do, right? If you want to take advantage, you go to dtitrader.com/WPC or call 904-706-3532. That's certainly what I'd do. Tom, I know you've had a lot of happy people do it in the past. We're going to dive into the chat here in a minute, see what folks are asking. But first, Tom, let's run through some FAQs if you don't mind. How much money is needed for these trades?
Well, the trades average around 97 cents. And as you've seen today, that means most cost less than $100
I mean,
per
that's
option.
incredible. You can scale that up as much as you want,
Absolutely.
but
That's
just
what I
to,
like about it. Easy math, too.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Will every trade be a winner?
Of course not. No strategy wins 100% of the time, but according to our tests, these weekend profit club alerts have shown the power to be extremely profitable for folks who stick with me and the system.
84% win rate according to that testing. Now, should folks be worried about more downside in the markets this year?
No, that's the beauty of it. We'll play the market either way it wants to go. We're not holding positions during the week. We're going from Friday to the next week, and we're targeting extra income over the weekend when the
Love that.
markets are closed.
Love that. Can we trade these in an IRA or 401k account?
And that's the beautiful thing about it. It's retirement account friendly. And if you're using a not normal account, any regular brokerage does the trick.
All right. Well, what's this weekend's income trade?
Hey, I'm sharing that information with those that join today's founding members.
I tried to sneak that one past him,
Yeah.
folks, but he's too quick. So, how do folks start their own weekend side hustle in the stock market then?
Pretty simple. Click the link in the chat, and then I'll show you step by step until we get to the trade how to do it.
I love that photo of you, Tom. I bet it was right on the green after that shot. All right, folks, one more time. We're about to dive into the chat here, but this is limited time on the best pricing, only 100 spots that I'm sure already many have filled up. So go to dtitrader.com/WPC or call the team 904-706-3532. Adam's dropped the link in the chat. You can click it there. You can type it in if you like to, take the long way around, but take the easy way and join the Weekend Profits Club, whatever you do here, because it's a really, Tom, you put together something truly incredible here, and I'm
This is a
honored
great
to be a part
program.
of it.
Great program.
I'm going to pull out the chat here and see if we've got some questions
Sure.
for folks. All right. Well, folks said the audio was a little low, but I think we solved that. Tom, what are you looking at as far, setting up these trades? Is there something that you're looking to see, or is it a consistent process that you're following weekend?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about it. It's a consistent process. I tell people if you get the trend right, that's over half the battle.
Mm-hmm.
People will say, Tom, how do you know what the trend is? Well, the market's a 24-hour market, and you just can't watch 8 hours of it. You got to watch all the 24 hours, and you got all week long to nail that portion of the market. Then you do the setup that's going to pay you when you put your dollar up to hopefully you get back $1.30, $1.40 off the dollar you put up.
Mm-hmm.
And you do that same process. It's almost like a routine, like brushing your teeth every morning. Hope everybody here brushes their teeth every morning. But the whole
I went
point
to
is
the dentist this morning.
that's what made me think of that. But the bottom line, folks, you get started here and you will notice on these trades how cool it is that you're able to do this in the way we do it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing complicated, very simple, and it happens like clockwork every week.
Yeah, that's really incredible. And speaking of clockwork, you said, the window is Thursday at noon to Friday at close. But folks at home really don't have to worry about that.
No,
right?
I'm watching it.
Yeah. So you're doing
because until everything lines up, I don't issue the trade. But I keep you informed. Like, we'll send out a message. Hey, no trade today. We'll come back tomorrow.
I love that.
Yeah,
I think that's so
we
cool.
try to keep people in the game.
And something I didn't know about at all, Tom, and got a couple of questions about it. This tax benefit that you're talking about. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, sure.
I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah. Representative Roskinkowski in the 86 Tax Act put this in there.
Look at that.
He
I would
said,
never know.
he said the following: you can take 60% long-term gains, 40% short-term on certain qualifying trades. We're using qualifying trades here, so immediately we fill that requirement. A lot of people don't even know it today. You didn't know it, right?
I had no idea. No.
Yeah. So knowing that little insight with the right index gives you the ability to take advantage of that. So you get to keep more of your money.
I love that. That's really, really powerful. And like you said, I wouldn't have had any clue. For folks who are just getting started, maybe they're not familiar with options, you're going to walk them through exactly what they need to do.
Oh, absolutely. And for those that like to work on their own time, I've got a whole course I give you. We didn't cover that in the slides on what I call options made simple.
Mm-hmm.
What I did, Stephen, I got there were so many questions about options, and you got textbooks on options, you got different biases, how to teach options, where they go off on mathematical and lose half the audience. Mine's pretty simple, okay? If you get the direction right, you make money. If you get the direction wrong, you lose money. So the idea is to figure that out, and I'll show you the steps that you can put the odds in your favor. You saw the accuracy rate, 84%. You can go to bank with an 84% accuracy rate.
Absolutely.
And plus, it's not, what I love about that, it's not as bad on your psychology when you know that those are the odds of you making a decision to put your money at risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, for folks at home that are worried about like the level of access, cash account, is this possible in a cash account? What do they need to know in terms of setting up their account to make it possible?
Well, it's very simple. You just open an account with a broker, and there's several of them I like. I'll share those with you. I like the Thinkorswim account from Schwab. I like the account from Tasty Trade. I like the account from a company called Tradier. There's a lot of different brokers out there that don't charge you an arm and a leg to do a simple transaction.
I like that. So, David,
yeah, I paid.
Good ask.
You're speaking of that.
To your question,
and I'm going on a side note here, but I was doing these trades where my IRA was with at the bank, and I said, "What did it cost me? How did I lose $1,300 on a stop that only lost $1 on?" Oh, she said the transaction cost. I said, "Are you serious? I'm paying $300 to get in, $300 to get out." Not long, I'm at Tasty Trade after that discussion.
Yeah, I mean they'll gouge you if you're not paying attention.
I got gouged.
So, and that's a legend that's getting gouged.
Yeah,
so
I wasn't paying attention. You got to pay attention to these things, the cost of the
Exactly.
transaction.
Dean asked, when are you closing if the trade goes on to a Monday? Is it at target? Is it the end of the day, the opening? What's this philosophy
Yeah,
there?
what I do is from the initial entry, I put a good to cancel order in, Dean, and let it play out. That's the way I do it.
And that means that if it hits the target,
We're out.
closes itself, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
So that's another advantage. You don't
Right.
have to sit by your computer and hope.
Right.
I was watching a trade.
And I got a rule with options. I tell everybody my rule, and if they write it down, any option I do, I'm not going to stay in that option, unless there's an exceptional reason beyond 72 hours. So 72 hours would be the longest.
That's perfect for this.
Yeah.
Those good till canceled orders, I couldn't.
Yeah, good to cancel
live without.
Yeah, the good to cancel orders are going to take you out no matter what you're doing. Because a lot of people, I found this out with customers, a lot of people don't put an exit order in, and it goes to the target. And then by the time they think, oh, I got this trade to go look at, they come back, it's already hit its target, and now it's a loser, and they end up selling it at the worst time.
I was about to say, I had a trade literally this morning close on OKLO.
Yeah.
Exactly that happened. If I hadn't had that GTC order, there's no chance I would have seen it.
You know what keeps people from putting an order in? Greed. And you got it, and you got to balance greed with fear. And here we're just playing a process. It's numbers.
Right. And you've
let the numbers work for you. I'll show you how to let the numbers work for you.
And the numbers are incredible. 84% win rate. 1,592. And again, we didn't even really hit this that hard, but that's winners and losers included.
Right.
So even if you take a loss, which of course we talked about, that's going to happen, you're still averaging 1,592 per week.
Yeah, if you stake it at 5,000 like that,
or
more.
2,500, you're averaging
or more if you put more on.
750 a week or so. It's really incredible, Tom, what you've got here.
I think somebody learning how to trade or whatever can scale it up to their comfort level. And that's the beautiful thing about this.
Well, and that's the thing, Tom. I want to brag on you a bit because I've had the fortune of seeing a lot of your education, whether it's live or over the web. It really doesn't matter. You make an incredible experience for everybody. And your team, you've cultivated the best educators. It's not just you. It's Jeff Smith. It's Jonathan Rowe. It's Chuck Crow. And it's all the supporting staff that make that possible. I really believe the price of the education alone, excuse me, is worth a lot more than you're charging here when they're getting 52 trade alerts.
Yeah, and I'm motivated by that, and that's why my customers do better than most because they're educated.
Yeah.
After I get them educated, they're not just taking a trade blindly and put it in there. They understand it. They get a feeling for it, and it's sort of like anything else. You get that experience.
Yeah.
And experience the right way.
Right. I mean, I've had the fortune of meeting a ton of your customers just last week, I think we had dinner with Bill, who's been a customer of yours for 20 years, 30, long
Yeah,
time.
long time.
He makes the drive
I
from,
talked to him today.
he makes the drive from Shreveport to out here in Jacksonville every time you have a class. And you're not just doing that for fun, you're doing that
Right.
because you're getting a lot of value out of it.
Sure.
And he's not the only one. Carol, there's a ton of folks that follow what you do and get an incredible amount of value and education out of it. And Weekend Side Hustle, Weekend Profits Club is now, just the next opportunity.
We've
to do
been
that.
waiting,
So,
folks. We've been waiting. I've been pushing them to get this released, and we finally got it released because I did a tweak to the old strategy, and it's just made a difference in night and day.
John here said something I think you'll love, Tom. He said, hit a bunch of singles instead of swinging for the fences every time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a better way.
Sure, with the options, people, the pull for options is, hey, you put up a little bit of money, make a lot. That's not the way it works. Put up a little bit of money and lose a lot because you're going for that home run. The way to make money with options is you have a consistent profit zone that you take your profits on and move on. Reinvest that money in another good play. People make a big mistake. I did when I was learning options. Oh, I just wanted to hit that home run, right? And you kept striking out, using a baseball analogy. But the idea is get on first base, like Don said, then get on first base again. Pretty soon you got the bases loaded and you start cranking it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to throw your money away, you can follow my parlays on hockey or baseball. And there's a reason we don't sell that service because nobody would buy it. But if you want to invest your money smartly in a consistent strategy that's showing results week after week, Weekend Profits Club is the place to be. You can go to dtitrader.com/WPC or call 904-706-3532. We've got a team of experts that are standing by. Renaud, Sean, ton of folks that are listening for your call. Caitlin, a whole team, 10, 12 folks that are standing by. And they've all got Tom's, direct contact info, my contact info, so they can get answers to your questions whenever they need it. Tom, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm probably one of the few guys been in this business a long time. I like talking to you because it gives me feedback how to make what I do better for you. And I have created a lot of great friends in this business because I like talking to the customers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you absolutely do. You really spend time with folks and we love that about you. So, Tom, anything else you want to say to the folks here at home?
There is one thing I want to
Okay.
say. Folks, get started now, and I'll see you on the flip side.
That's his signature sign off. All right. Well, thank you all for being a part of this. One last time, I'll walk through. Go to dtitrader.com/WPC or call 904-706-3532. It's only $1,592 for the first 100 slots. I haven't even gotten an update on how those are filling up, but I'm sure it's fast. So make sure you take advantage. You're getting 52 trade alerts per year, the early payday exit plan, the tax benefits, everything that's included. Tom, this is incredible, and I can't wait for folks to get started. So thanks for having me here. Thanks for doing
Steve,
this.
it was fun doing it with you, and folks, we'll see you on the other side.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.